For manga fans, one aspect of the industry we'll be all too aware of is the amount of manga that gets released and subsequently cancelled a couple weeks later. As a result, some people can be hesitant in starting a new weekly series, as it can really suck to get invested in something just for it to receive a rushed ending when it's barely begun. Some series manage to survive this uncertain early period however, and here are 3 of my favourite new manga. Out of all the ones I'm going to talk about, Jagaaaaaan is by far the shortest, with only 12 chapters currently out, but managed to capture my interest almost immediately. The premise is fairly standard stuff, with the MC getting superpowers before being told to go on a grand undertaking to save the world. However, this familiarity is shown in a grittier, realistic fashion which delves into the most repulsive aspects of human nature. The main character Jagaaaaaan is immediately shown to be unstable with hatred for the mundane activities transpiring in day-to-day life. As soon as this is established, the veneer of normality we experience becomes all the more fascinating as we see how this borderline sociopath reacts to everyday events. Knowing what we do, seeing the main character in panels like this as if we are in a gag manga becomes really unsettling. Ultimately, this manga isn't as unique as it initially seems, but regardless, there is real potential for growth from the main character on top of what we already see as his story continues and the world expands. The action in this manga also stands out due to the grotesque designs the enemies have, rife with symbolism and complemented with a lot of gore. Basically, ordinary civilians are getting transformed into hideous creatures as their desires become distorted and change their appearance, so it's essentially a fucked up version of Persona. Most of all, these enemies remind me of the work of Junji Ito, so if you're a fan of unsettling designs, you'll enjoy the short bursts of ultra-violence this manga has. This is the work of Muneyuki Kaneshiro and Kensuke Nishida, and Kaneshiro seems to be a pretty well regarded mangaka, so I wouldn't worry about this one getting cancelled. It's one for a mature audience, but I think that those that are a fan of standard action tropes will enjoy the slight deviance from the norm this manga offers. By the mangaka of A Silent Voice, which is blowing up at the moment thanks to the anime film which still isn't out in the West yet, the next work I'm talking about is To You, the Immortal. This one is quite weird, with the main character being an immortal sphere which transforms into the shape of dying beings with a greater energy than what the sphere currently is. For example, right at the beginning, the sphere transforms from a rock to moss to a wolf. Despite only being 22 chapters in, we've been treated to well-developed characters as our MC known as Fushi interacts with different aspects of his world. Fushi is truly a blank slate as he learns from those he's encountered, and due to this, those he has met previously are guaranteed to have a lasting effect on him, giving us character development at its purest. I'm impressed by how well the mangaka has fit entire character arcs into his work as we experience the struggles of the supporting cast. The dilemma can be as simple as finding a girl you like, but the experiences of the cast are surprisingly relatable despite how far off the world may seem at first. The life lessons learnt from these characters impact Fushi greatly and even managed to touch my cold dead heart, so I recommend giving this one a try. Sometimes I may seem like a relic of the past, but I'm not so out of touch with what's hip these days that I'd miss out on the Promised Neverland. Being one of the most talked about series currently out, this manga's greatest strength is the feeling of suspense it manages to convey. The idea of this is that there's a bunch of kids who are raised in an orphanage, and the 3 main characters find out that they're actually being sent away to be eaten by demons when they reach the age of 12. The manga is a constant back and forth between protagonists and antagonists, making great use of tactics and mind games to keep the main characters on edge and the villain's actions ever unpredictable. It fits the weekly format perfectly, with each chapter being crammed with possible foreshadowing and dialogue that can completely throw off any theories you may have had, which makes discussing events with the community an absolute blast. I'd actually go as far to say that The Promised Neverland is worse when you read it in bulk, as the big reveals chapters don't have as much time to sink in. The world outside the orphanage is a mystery, but the mangaka has been giving us clues as to what kind of world we can expect if and when the protagonists escape. Bearing in mind how suspenseful this work has been so far, I have no doubt that the strength of the series shall continue when the wider picture regarding humanity's situation is revealed. These manga are pretty unique and have a lot of potential, so I definitely recommend checking them out. Most of all, I don't think they'll get cancelled soon, so that's always a bonus. Thanks for watching folks, I'll see you next time.